Imagine shaving minutes off your 10K time, recovering quicker after long runs, and feeling like your legs have an extra gear, all without running a single extra kilometer. That's exactly what started happening when I added these 7 surprisingly simple leg exercises into majority of our Coach Parry clients' training weeks. They look basic, but the results are anything but. I'm Shona, Head of Strength and Conditioning at Coach Parry for the last 6 years, and in this video, you're going to learn the exact leg exercises that we use to help runners over the age of 50 improve their speed, stability, and longevity. Lindsay's here with me today to demo everything, while I will walk you through what each movement does and why it matters for you. Let's start with a move that looks like nothing until it burns. Linz, we're going to do some standing clams. All right, Linz, what you're going to do is you're going to have your back foot up onto a bench or a chair, dining room chair will work, etc. You want to have your knees in line with each other, yeah, and you want to have a slight squat in that standing leg. And then from there, what you're going to do is you're going to then do your clam. So extending out, but keeping this leg nice and still and straight in line. You're going to feel it on both this glute and your standing glute. This one builds deep hip stability, and that's one of the most important things runners over 50 need, because if your pelvis isn't stable when your foot hits the ground, your knee and your ankle will always pay the price. This movement targets the glute medius, one of the most overlooked running muscles. And doing it while you're standing also forces you to get more stability on that standing leg so that you're activating the other glutes at the same time, which is essentially mimicking the running action. You might not feel that much at first, but once you do it properly, it is absolutely brutal and so effective. Ensure that we have a slight squat in that knee and that we're extending this leg out so that you're really getting that technique down perfectly. And by the way, if you want a full breakdown of how to train smarter and avoid the most common injuries that we see in runners over 50, scan the QR code on screen now and join our free masterclass. We'll walk you through the 5 pillars that make the biggest difference. All right, this next one is all about power, but specifically power through your glutes and your hamstrings. You're going to lie flat on your back with your heels on a stool or a chair, something that you can rest your feet on quite comfortably. From there, you're going to engage your core first. So what I mean by that is pull your belly button down to the ground. So making sure that your back isn't arching. And you also want to just reach or squeeze your ribs down to your hip bones. You'll feel that contraction really strong and you hold that. From there, we then raise our hips off the ground, relax your head, and so that you're really feeling that in the glutes, hold it for 2 to 3 seconds, and then come slowly down. Again, ensuring that we're keeping that core strong and engaged, and we drive up and squeeze for 2 to 3 seconds and come slowly down. If you have your knees slightly bent, this is the sort of starting point or regression of the exercise. The further away and the straighter your legs are, the harder that exercise gets. And so if you want to keep going through a couple of those, Linz, if your stride feels weaker or shorter than it used to be, it could be a glute problem. And so what you need to be doing are these glute bridges. Essentially, glutes are your propulsion engines. They help drive you forward, but they tend to get lazy, especially if you sit a lot. And so this movement helps reactivate and rebuild that explosive extension through the hips. This exercise also hits the hamstrings, which most runners really struggle with. And so if you've ever felt like your legs just aren't firing properly anymore, this is how we fix it. Now we're going to work on something sneaky but really important, which is balance. This might not look like a strength move, but it trains your proprioception as well. How fast your muscles react when you get thrown off balance. And that's vital for runners, especially on uneven terrain or tired legs. And so what I want us to do is a single leg balance exercise with toe taps. We also call it the clock exercise. So imagine that you are standing in the middle of a clock. You've got 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock all around you. You have a mini band around the top of your knees. And as you can see, Lindsay is in a slight squat position. From there, you are going to reach forward with your toe and touch the 12 o'clock, come back to the middle. That's it. And then go out to the 3 o'clock sign, come back to the middle, and reach behind you for the 6 o'clock one, and back to the middle. Continue to do this, but really important is that you don't want to shift the weight on this leg. You want to make sure that that is really still, because really what we're working here is the stability of the standing glute, not necessarily the one that is moving. And so Liz, if you just turn to the side for me, and so we can show them that, is that if you're reaching it forward for that 12 o'clock, so you're in a nice squat, you're not necessarily moving your whole body forward and chain or counterbalancing yourself. You're just balancing off the standing leg and not reaching far forward. Better balance means fewer stumbles, fewer overuse injuries, and better control at every step. Okay, time to address something that affects almost every older runner I coach, which is posture. What we're wanting to do here is a bent over row. Essentially, any kind of rowing mechanism is going to help work this posterior spine and shoulder area. So what you want to do is we're going to do a bent over row. So from there, Lindsay's just going to go into a hip hinge movement. So push that bum back, trying to keep the knees slightly bent and then hinge the upper body over. Okay, Lindsay's just going to bend down and grab his bar. What you want to have here is a nice straight back. You don't want to round the shoulders. So think about someone's got their hand here and you almost want to squeeze those shoulder blades together. So from there, you're then going to pull the bar up to your chest. That's it, squeezing there and coming back down. Right, so you can even hinge a little bit more over. You can bend your knees if you need to, Linz. I know your hamstrings. There we go. And then straight down and squeezing here between the shoulder blades. That's it. And so that's what it looks like with a bar. You could use a broomstick. You can use a hockey stick or a cricket bat or a baseball bat. But if you do also have dumbbells, you can do it in the same way. So mechanism, bum goes back first, hinging over, and then squeezing in between the shoulder blades, lifting those weights up to the chest and ensuring that we're getting a nice squeeze there, but relaxing the upper traps. Great. And so essentially what is happening here is that your shoulder blades very often can start winging out. And what we're trying to do is to have really good pulling these muscles and getting these muscles stronger so that you're in that position and that you're not then running in this poor posture position. All right, let's move down the chain now to the calves. The muscles in the lower limb are really undervalued. They're absorbing and rebounding energy with every single stride. And if yours are weak, you lose efficiency and you start overloading the other structures around there, including the Achilles, the plantar fascia, or even your knees. And so this drill and exercise builds strength and control through the entire lower leg and helps bring the bounce back into your stride. In particular, it's working the soleus muscle, which is the stabilizer of the leg every single time you land on the ground. So what you're going to do is you're going to use it. You can use a step. You don't have to use a step, but we'll demonstrate this on a step for you. We're going to go single leg. So Lindsay, you can lift your right leg up for me. That's it. And you're going to bend your left knee slightly. And then from there, you just do a toe raise or raising up onto the toe and then all the way down. So you don't want to straighten the knee at the top of that movement. You want to keep that knee bent because that is working the soleus muscle at the bottom here and not as much as the gastrocnemius, which is more of the movement of the calf. If you don't have a step at home, you can do it without that. Of course, the step does just give you slightly more range of motion as you're going through the movements. This next one may feel quite awkward, but it's really, really powerful. Single leg control is everything in running because this is where you learn to stabilize your knee while controlling the descents using your glutes. Most people will rush through this exercise, but really slow, deliberate reps will build serious strength in your quads, glutes, and ankle stabilizers, all while retraining better joint alignments. It's basically strength, balance, and control in one sneaky little package. So what we're going to go through now is a single leg squat. So Linz, or single leg sit down really. So you're going to have one leg up in front of you and you're going to gently sit yourself down onto a chair and then stand yourself back up again. If you can do it with one leg, that's great. But if you need to regress it, you can sit yourself down, stand up with both feet, and then sit yourself down with a leg, that's it. So what you want to do here though is not drop yourself down. So don't just plonk into the chair. You want to make sure that you're really controlling that downwards movement and then standing back up. The other thing that's really important to look for is to make sure that your knee sort of stays in line with your foot the entire time. You don't want that knee to drop down and sway side to side. So nice and controlled movement down, ensuring that knee is staying in line with the foot and back up. As you can see here, what we've done, Lindsay, just take a step to your side, is that we've added a bench something onto the bench for Lindsay. If you are really struggling and you find your knee is falling all over the place, add something to make that chair a little bit higher. So add a cushion or something up so that you just can then regress or progress yourself down as you're getting stronger. If you haven't yet, Now is a great time to scan that QR code and save your seat in the masterclass. It's free and it'll give you a full strategy to keep improving year after year. Okay, time to finish strong. This one ties everything together. It's lateral stability, explosive power, and some light and safe plyometrics, coordination and rhythm. It's dynamic and it preps your body to handle the unpredictable forces that show up in racing, fast running, or even trails. We use this to get runners ready for peak season because it fires up your entire kinetic chain in one movement. We're talking about doing some lateral bounds. You're essentially going to jump from one side to the other on a single leg. So you're going to start with the outside leg. So Lindsay's standing on that outside leg and jumping across laterally to land on the other outside leg. Try and stabilize as you land. Your knee can be slightly bent to cushion that landing, and you want to land nicely. You can reset and then go again. We definitely don't want this to be this continuous jumping back and forth. That's a completely different exercise. Here, I'm trying to get as much lateral or horizontal movement and power as we can get jumping side to side. So single leg on the outside leg, landing across, nice and controlled, reset and try and go again. So those are the 7 exercises. And no, you don't need to do them all at once. Start with 2 or 3, add them into your week, and you'll notice the difference in a few weeks' time, not just in how you're running, but also in how you are recovering. These are the movements we see make the biggest difference in performance and injury prevention, especially for runners over 50. And before you go, if your knees have ever felt creaky, sore, or just unreliable after a run, watch this next video right here. We'll show you exactly how to strengthen your knees properly and keep you running for years to come.